Sri Dakshinamurti Sudeshikendram Dvaipayanam Sutrakritam Munindram Sri Shankaram Bhashyakritam Yatindram Maddeshi Kanchapi Namami Vityai. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsarishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyah Sarvopaplavarahita Prajnana Ganaha Pratyagarto Brahmaivaham Asmi. Pranams everyone. So we have started on the 16th chapter. The 16th chapter is Daiv-Asura-Sampad. Basically the good values and the negative values or negative characters. Bhagavan is giving both these. The reason being, we have to acquire all those good qualities, and whatever negative qualities that Bhagavan actually lists out here, we'll have to ensure that we don't catch it, or if we already have it, then we should be in a position to take it away from our personality. And Bhagavan starts with a list of values in the first sloka. We'll see the first sloka. We've already started on the first sloka last class. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Abhayam Sattva Shuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi Danam Damascha Yajñascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam. So he is listing out about 8 to 9 values here. The first one being Abhayam. Abhayam we saw as fearlessness. And we did a small vichara on fear. We saw Raja Bhardruhari's Vairagya Shatakam, in which he calls out all the types of fear that a person might have. And basically he says that the fear is something inevitable. Everybody has it for everything. From body, from even if you have wealth, even if you have knowledge, even if you have character, even if you have values, there is always a fear. Because the fear is, it might leave us. The fear is basically it might leave us. And we try to identify what are the different types of fear. How do we get fear, or when do we get fear? And we said there are mainly 3. The first one is basically the fear of destruction or pain, or destruction or death. Basically something that we like the more, something like that I possess, if it leaves me, or if it dies, or if it gets destructed, then I will have sorrow, and therefore I fear for that. And that is inevitable, but that fear will always be there, that this is going to happen. And then the second one is Dukkha Nimitta Bhayam, where we saw that the fear of pain or sorrow, that this might happen in the future, this event might happen in the future, and therefore there is a fear. 99% of all our fears are only that. But as we said, if we analyze further, if we see most of the cases, it wouldn't happen. The said event or the event that we think will happen, that will cause me pain or sorrow, will not happen at all. But we still have that fear. Then the third one is, Ajnana Nimitta Bhayam, or the fear of the unknown, or the fear of ignorance. We said how we fear darkness, because the same house we feel afraid in the dark, because we think that there is something unknown there. Then we also did, an exception is some people also have this Shastra Upadeshite Arte Bhayam, where they think that by following Shastras, they will lose out on this world, from this world. They wouldn't, that if I actually live a life according to Shastras, I may not be successful. And success is defined in terms of Arthakama. Or that is how they define the success. Success is defined in the terms of Arthakama. Arthakama being name, fame, power, position, money, wealth, all the enjoyment. That if I follow Shastras, I will not be able to get all those things. But this fear is actually, all these fears are mainly unwarranted. That is what we said. But we said there is a need for fear. Fear is a necessary emotion that every individual should possess. But that fear is the fear of adharma, that I should not fall on the wrong side of dharma, that I should not become adharmic. Because all other fear, we can, if we actually do some vichara for the fear of nasham, fear of death is inevitable. It's going to happen. The fear of pain or sorrow, if we analyze 95% of the cases, it wouldn't happen. So there is no need to fear. Or even if it is going to happen, it is going to be short-lived. That sorrow or pain is going to come, and then after some time that too shall pass. So adharma related fear, the fear that I would be bringing nasham to my character because if I follow adharma, that fear should always be there. In fact, that fear is an indication of mental maturity. So fear, if somebody is afraid, it's not a papa per se, because that fear will help us to be in the correct path. And we saw that there is also fear of God. God fearing, they say. Fear of Bhagavan. That fear, initially to start with, it is okay. But as we mature, that fear should convert into an understanding. We should be able to understand Bhagavan. Now, then we started discussing on how to attain Abhayam. How to remove these unwanted fears. What are the ways to remove fear? And if you see the first one, where we discussed Raja Bhartrihari's Vairagya Shatakam, where all these kind of fears are fear basically because we do not have vairagya on it. Vairagya is basically viveka, or lack of attachment or non-attachment on things, possessions, relations, people, situations. What we should understand is, whenever I have an attachment on something, it is bound to create fear in my mind. Anything that I get attached to in this life, be people or possessions or even situations, it is bound to create fear in me, because we all know at the back of the mind that that something might go wrong, something might happen, this person might leave me, this person might insult me, or this person might create problems for me, or there could be some misunderstanding, or there could be some other reason, this person might leave me, or this whatever I am possessing, that might actually get destroyed, or this situation may not last long, somebody else will come change the situation. There are so many external factors. So those things are, those fear are because of the attachment that I have. If I do not have attachment on those things, then there is no need for me to fear about those things. The fear will automatically not be there on those things. And we saw that on things that I have attachment on, basically it creates three types of emotions. It can either create bhaya, which is fear, or it can create krodha, which is anger, and it could also create lobha. Basically, if there is something, some person, some relation whom I want to have in my life, or if there is a possession that I want to have, if I want to have that particular car, this particular object, this particular phone, whatever, this particular sari, this particular necklace, I have an attachment towards that. And if there is something or somebody who is coming in the way of my desire, and if that person is actually more powerful than me, then automatically the desire or the emotion that I get is bhaya, that fear. I fear that this person will take this away from me. Or if that person who comes in my way is actually weaker than me, then I get krodha, I get anger, I get angry with that person. So that is also a negative emotion. And if those two doesn't happen, if I am actually able to fulfill that desire, then generally the mind does not get contented. It supposedly gets contented for a short time. But after some time, we start getting this lobha. Suppose if we are in an organization, we are working for something, there is yearly bonus being announced. We strive hard, we work hard to get that bonus or get that promotion or get that salary raise. And then when the results are announced, if somebody else has taken away our promotion, if he could take away my promotion, we get fear if that person is stronger than us, more powerful than us. If that person is actually a subordinate or a person whom is of a lesser power than us, then we get angry. But suppose even if I get that promotion or even if I get that raise or bonus, I do get contented for some time, no doubt. But after some time, I again feel discontent. This contentment is not there at all times. It's not there forever. So that lobha continues. So vairagyam is important to remove fear. So whatever we possess, wealth, property, fame, position, appreciation, all this importance, whatever this, if we become attached to those and we fear that we might lose them, if we get attached, we will always fear that we will lose them. And life becomes more and more filled with anxiety every moment. Life is full of anxious moments. So vairagyam is the best way to remove fear. As I said, if this is kind of difficult to achieve, because to achieve vairagyam is not a one-day effort or overnight sadhana. It takes some time for us to build this vairagyam on things that we are attached to. So we will have to practice that, no doubt, but to immediately remove vairagya, if it's not possible, then we'll have to follow the second one, which is viveka. Viveka meaning discrimination or knowledge, we can say knowledge. Because once we get this viveka, the viveka can slowly morph itself into vairagya, and thus the fear will be removed. So the knowledge, we'll have to get that conviction in that knowledge, and with that conviction in the knowledge, we will be able to get vairagya. What knowledge are we talking about? Nature. Knowledge about the nature. This creation, whatever we see, has got some secrets, and we have to understand those secrets. We just need to tap on those secrets of this creation, and from there we will be able to get that knowledge, and that knowledge can be converted into vairagya. The first viveka is basically this: whatever is bound to happen, there is no point in trying to stop that from happening. There are certain things in this creation that will happen, no doubt. We cannot stop it. And if we know that these things are going to happen, then, and there is no point in trying to stop them, then if we are able to get that knowledge, slowly our vairagya will improve on that, and through that we will be able to remove fear. And here what kind of bhayam we are talking about? Basically mainly the nasha bhayam. The nasha bhayam is got, Bhagavan says apariharyarte. Apariharyarte meaning it is inevitable. It is bound to happen. There is no point fearing that this could happen in the future, because it is definitely going to happen. Nor it makes any sense saying that we will try to stop that from happening. For example, death, right? There should not be any fear of death. It is bound to happen. People around us, when they grow old, or when they fall sick, when they have extreme diseases, then they are going to die. We have to accept it. We just need to know how to face it. This is an open secret, but yet we do not want to accept it. We still lament on how could they leave us? How could this person leave me? Knowing fully well that everyone in this world, whoever is born is going to die one day, including us. And yet we lament on some person who had passed away. So this is the first viveka, that basically certain things which are bound to happen, there is no point in trying to stop that from happening. The second secret that nature tells you is, an important truth is that Bhagavan or Ishvara will not, or he cannot give us any pain that we cannot withstand. He will not give us any pain that we cannot withstand. In other words, he will only give us pain that we are able to withstand. And this is true in nature. If you look at a mosquito, for example, right? A mosquito, suppose even those things will have issues, problems. Every Jeevarasi will have issues or problems. A mosquito cannot have its leg swollen to the size of our finger. It is not possible, right? A mosquito will not have that kind of a problem. Or for that matter, our finger, if it gets hurt, it is not going to get swollen to the size of an elephant's feet. It is not going to happen. If it is going to happen, we will not be alive. So it doesn't matter. So as long as we are alive, it's not going to happen. Or even if the pain is too short, too high, what happens is, we will get into a coma. We will not be able to feel the pain. As we grow old, some of the nerves carrying the pain signals may not even work. So Bhagavan has, or Ishvara has created in this world certain things on how we will be able to withstand all the pain. We should understand this. If we know this secret, then we will not fear the pain or sorrow that will hit us. We will be able to withstand it. We'll have to tell ourselves we'll be able to withstand it. Some people might complain that they have so much of pain in their life. Only you cannot imagine the kind of pain and sorrow that I am going through in my life. How would you know? You are not in my shoes. Those things will complain. Those things will come through, though. But they might even say this and at the same time enjoy a nice cup of coffee or go around for some shopping. They'll still be able to do that. So if they are able to do that, and there is no point in saying that they are in severe pain or sorrow in their life. So the fact that they are able to enjoy their nice cup of coffee or are able to go for a shopping tells us that this pain or sorrow can be withstood. So there is no pain or sorrow that will not be able to withstand. Whatever they say is all dialogues. So we should not take them seriously, because even if they, as I said, they will have their own life after that. After all their rants, they will still enjoy their life. The secret that we have to understand is Ishvara will ensure that we have the strength to withstand the pain. This is an important secret, nature secret, that we have to imbibe. And this viveka we will have to practice. We will have to do an abhyasa. We will have to keep saying that I will be able to withstand this pain. Or if we look at the sum of the fear, if it is actually nasha nimitta bhayam, and we will have to say, this is bound to happen. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. So why should I fear about it? If it happens, let it happen, because it's inevitable. So the first step of actually removing fear is vairagya, which is a difficult one. But wherever possible, we'll have to apply vairagya on whatever things that we can want to remove fear on, we will have to apply vairagya. If it fails, then we'll have to do a viveka to see, is this something that is going to happen? Is this inevitable? Then there is no need to fear. Or if there is a pain or sorrow that I will be able to withstand, then I don't need to fear. So this is the second step, vairagya. And then followed by viveka. Suppose if we say, okay, my mind is not mature enough to follow vairagya, or this fear is such that my intellect is not subtle enough to understand these secrets of nature, then we go to the third step. The third step being Shraddha. Shraddha is again another word which we do not have an exact English meaning, but we can say faith or belief, the closest. Shraddha will remove my fear. Remember, all these steps, vairagya, viveka, shraddha, these have all passed acid tests. It has worked for people. It has worked. It will work. Shraddha is, as I said, loosely faith or belief. Shraddha on what? Shraddha on Bhagavan, Shraddha on Ishvara. Some people say this, this is kind of a foolish belief. How can, you have this belief on something, on some power, and then you think that your fear will vanish or get removed. So if some people say that, it's okay. For them, we just need to say it's okay. It's okay for me to be foolish. Let me be foolish and not be afraid, rather than me being intelligent and then be afraid. So it doesn't matter. Bhagavan will take care of me. That kind of a belief has to be there. That Shraddha has to be there. Bhagavan says, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. In Bhagavad Gita as well as in Vishnu Sahasranama, this sloka will come. Ananyas Chintayan Tomam Yejana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhi Yuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. Bhagavan says basically he will take care of yoga. Yoga here means whatever we require for this life, not whatever we desire. Whatever we require for this life, he will take care. Yogaha. Then Kshemaha means whatever we have acquired, he will take care of that also. Basically, he will do a watchman duty also for that. He will ensure that nothing goes away from us. So, Yoga Kshema Vahamyam. But there is a condition. Ananyas Chintayan Toma. We will have to always have this single pointed Bhakti, Shraddha on Bhagavan. For this yoga kshemam vahamyam, the only condition is we leave everything and be in the path of attaining Bhagavan. If we are in the path of attaining Bhagavan, he will definitely take care of yoga and kshema. And this is the truth. And that's why we have so many in our country. There are so many sannyasis who have left their houses, households. They have been rich people. They have left everything, taken sannyasa with nothing in their hand. No bank balance, no insurance, no fixed deposits, and they have ensured, and they have just gone ahead, taken sannyasa and lived a life of sannyasi, because they know, or they have the shraddha that if I am actually in the path of attaining Bhagavan, then Bhagavan will take care of me. He will take care of yoga and kshema. So this shraddha is important. This confidence is important. Now this confidence in what? Confidence in who? Confidence in Bhagavan. Confidence in Ishvara we'll have to have. Then we'll have to have confidence not just in Ishvara, confidence in Dharma. Because it is only if we follow Dharma, Bhagavan will take care of us. So confidence in Dharma we have to have. And the confidence in self should be there. That I will be able to follow Dharma. I will be able to attain Bhagavan. And there should be confidence in these virtues that Bhagavan has said. Saying that I will be straightforward. I will be truthful. Bhagavan will not let me down. There's one person whom we came across when he was not a very rich person. He was not properly schooled also. He was actually a kind of a villager who had started small, and he was running his business. And he was competing with a lot of the other big companies, but he was very confident. And when asked, how he was actually so confident in this business, when there are so many competitors who were all educated and all having a kind of a background that he doesn't possess. He said, if those people who are actually not keeping their word, who are delivering low quality goods, who are telling lies, cheating people, if they can grow their business, if they can actually be successful, then why not he who is straightforward? How could he face failure? That was the confidence he had. That was the confidence he had in the virtues. That was the confidence he had in himself. So this is important confidence. And the confidence that Bhagavan will take care of me. I will have difficulty. Everybody will go through difficult times, but Bhagavan will take care of that too. That's what we should understand. And this confidence is needed only when viveka is not there. Wherever vairagya is possible, apply vairagya. Wherever vairagya is not possible, apply viveka. Wherever viveka is not possible, apply this confidence. Apply this shraddha. Apply this belief in Bhagavan. Then what happens is slowly the shraddha will convert into viveka. This viveka will get converted to vairagya. So now the question is, suppose I am not able to even get this confidence. I am not able to get over this fear. Then we have the last step. This is the fourth step and the final step. There are no more steps after this. The fourth and final step is basically abhyasa. So what here we have to do? We have to list out the things or situations or issues that where or people or circumstances, whatever that could cause me fear, whatever that I am afraid of. I should list them all out. I need not share this with anyone. It is just for my reference, just for understanding ourselves. And then I should also list it down by the intensity of the fear that it creates. So it can be money, lack of money. Is it creating fear? Relations, is that creating me fear? My job, is it creating fear? My health, or the health of my relative, my loved one, whatever. We list it, they list them down. No need, there is no need for let others know about this. Once we list out them, what we should do is we should welcome that fear. We have to take it upon ourselves. Let me face that fear. So how can we welcome this fear? How can we take this fear up? How can we face this fear? It's a short story. In a forest there lived two sannyasis. So, and normally at night time the animals come out, looking for prey. So these two sannyasis, they had a hut. So one sannyasi constantly stayed inside the hut at night. But at night, he will never come out. He will always be within the hut. While the other sannyasi would go out at that time. He will go out of the hut during the night time. So this sannyasi asked him, "Are you not afraid you are going out?" He said, "Yes, I am afraid of these animals. There is no doubt that I am afraid of these animals. But I am not afraid of facing my fear. I am willing to face that fear." Fear, as I said, is an emotion that we all get. We should not be afraid of it to face it. We'll have to. Being afraid is okay. We should not try to hide it from that. But the more we try to face it, the chances of overcoming it are very high. Because by facing more and more such situations, we overcome fear. Stage fright, for example. The first time there is always this fear. But as we do more and more, when more and more we get onto the stage and start speaking out, the fear will leave us. So facing fear is an important way of overcoming fear. So what we do in terms of facing fear, when we have listed them out, all these list of fears that we have, we take up some fear which has some low intensity, and then we practice on this. We experience that fear, slowly we will overcome that fear. So for example, if generally a person feels afraid to sleep alone. So so generally if the person feels afraid to actually sleep alone, there are people who take sleeping tablets to sleep away. So but what we should do, we should try to overcome that. What we should do is we should refuse to take that tablet, and we should face that fear. We should face that fear to say, okay, what is the worst case scenario? I will not get sleep. Doesn't matter, I will just face it. I will just sit for a few more hours and then look through it. There was this once a person who did that actually, and then even at 2 or 3 o'clock, he was sitting out, he was trying to face the fear. After some time, he couldn't take it. So what he did was, he was afraid of being alone, dark, all those things. He just suddenly decided to take his bike and he went out. He went out into all those uninhabited places where he had never been. Those dark alleys and everywhere. He took his bike, went everything, he faced that fear, he came back, he felt so good. He felt that he was able to face his fear. This is called as abhyasa. Practice it, face it, overcome it. And remember, when we are listing it out, we should make sure that we should not take any high intensity fear in the first place. We should slowly practice with small fears, practice one by one, and then come to the high intensity ones after we finish all the low intensity ones. So, as I said, stage fear is another example. So, we should not be afraid of fear. We should be honest to ourselves, face them one by one, overcome them. This is called as abhyasa. So, this is the fourth step to overcome fear. So, as I said, fear, 4 steps. Vairagya, wherever we is possible. On things where we cannot, use viveka to accept the outcome. If viveka is not possible, where the intellect is not able to understand, have confidence in Bhagavan, Ishvara to overcome that fear. And if that is also not possible, then list down the fears, start facing them one by one. So this is Abhayam. This Abhayam we have seen, as Bhagavan has said, is given as a sadhana. He is given as a sadhana for us to achieve the mental maturity to be able to understand and assimilate this knowledge, the spiritual knowledge. So this sadhana is Abhayam. Abhayam in Shastras is also seen as a sadhyam. Sadhyam meaning the outcome. Shastras called moksham as Abhayam. A person who is in the state of moksha is Abhayam personified. There is no bhayam for him. Once we get moksha, there is no question of fear. Because even with vairagya, what happens is, even if you get vairagya, complete vairagya, the seed of the fear will always be there. It might germinate any time. When we slip on vairagya, the fear will come back. Whereas moksha, if we are in the state of moksha, there is no question of fear at all. And there is no question of fear occurring at all. So moksham is also called as fearless state. Brahman is fearlessness, we can say that. So, and why moksha is called as a state of fearlessness? Because if you look at fear comes out of dvanda, duality. Fear, we saw that there are many reasons. There could be money, relations that could cause fear, painful situations that could cause fear, job that could cause me fear. A lot of things are there. But if we are to analyze deeply, what we can say is, if there is another entity, if there is an entity other than me, then there is a possibility that I get fear. Whenever there are dvanda, whenever there is duality, I get fear. So if I have to remove fear, I can also remove duality. The moment I own up that to Advaita, that there is nothing other than me in this world, then there is nothing to be afraid of. Because there is no second thing for me to either have attachment or have fear or have anger for that matter. None of the emotions are really required. So to attain the ultimate state of fearlessness, Atma Jnana is the sadhana. So out here, of course, Bhagavan is teaching this Abhayam as a sadhana. Have Abhayam. Once we are able to build this Abhayam, getting Atma Jnana becomes easier. Abhayam overcomes the fear of following Shastras also. So fear of Shastras is also there, so we overcome them so that we are able to do Shravana Manana Nididhyasana and to follow the spiritual path of Atma Jnana. So this is the first virtue of the 9 virtues that are listed in the first sloka, Abhayam. Then the second virtue that Bhagavan lists out is Sattva Samshuddhi. Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi. Sattva Samshuddhihi. Sattva means, here Sattva means mind, Antakarana. Antakarana. Antakarana means, Karana means instrument, Antakarana means internal instrument. Bahya Karana are all the sense organs. The 5 sense organs are Bahya Karana. Antakarana is mind. The mind and intellect are Antakarana. So here Sattva means mind. Sattva Samshuddhihi. Shuddhihi means clean. So clean mind. Sam means Samyak Shuddhihi. Sam means well cleaned. Tamil is Nandraga. So Sattva Samshuddhihi, having a clean mind. Again, this virtue, there are two meanings to this virtue. One is what we call as the Samanyartha. Samanyartha means basically general meaning, and with Visheshartha means specific meaning. So from a Samanya Artha standpoint, this is a Samanya Daivi-Sampad. So this Sattva Samshuddhi encompasses all the good virtues that we have been listed as Daivi-Sampad. So that is called as Samanyartha. So when we say he is good mannered or good mind, he's got a nice heart, we say, or he's got a nice mind and he's got a very clean mind. What does it mean? It means he is polite, he doesn't have anger, he is very honest. All those things will be covered under it. So all the Daivi-Sampad. So for example, we can say Abhayam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Arjavam, all those things can be there. Adambam, Saucham, Titiksha, he has got a lot of patience, he's got no jealousy, he's got no pride. All those things we can include that. So this is basically Samanyartha. So if one has got good qualities, we say he has got a Chitta Shuddhi, he's got a clean mind. You can say that. Or we can say Antara Saucham. Antara Saucham means inner purity. Saucham means purity, Antara means inner purity. Remember, we saw Saucham in chapter 13. And there where we said there are Saucham has got two. Bahya Saucham, Antara Saucham. External purity and internal purity. And generally what happens? A lot of people we saw will follow Bahya Saucham. The house will be clean. At least the living room will be clean. Or at least when the guests are coming, the living room will be clean. So at least they will try to show that the house is clean. So that Bahya Saucham, but not Antara Saucham. What happens? But even in Bahya Saucham, what happens? There's a very famous saying I saw. A clean desk is a sign of a cluttered desk drawer. So what happens is when something has to be cleaned, we actually dump all those things into another place, which is not visible to others. So if we have to measure Bahya Saucham also, it should be measured on the basis of cleanliness maintained in the areas where people cannot see. If that place is not clean, then it means they don't give any importance or effort to cleanliness. And similarly, the mind is one of the places which is not visible to others. So therefore, that is why many of us, we do not give any importance to cleaning that place. We do not put an effort to clean that. The body we want to show off. We wash our body, we clean, we put all this scent and perfume and whatnot, and we want to show off that we are clean. But the mind, because it is not visible, we do not give any importance to it. And we have because this value we have already discussed. I'm not going to go too much into it, but we have just tried to recollect some of the points that we discussed there. We saw how to actually get this cleanliness. One is Pratipaksha Bhavana. Find out what is the negative or weakness that we have in us and we work on it. And how do we work on it? Pratipaksha Bhavana. We improve the opposite positive trait. For example, I have this feeling of lobam. I don't have this. I have this feeling of not willing to share. I feel it's mine. I have this lobha buddhi. Then I have to counter that with dhanam. I have to do more and more charity. And I have to give it forcefully. I'll have to give it so that I am able to counter the lobham. What sort of dhanam, how dhanam has to be given, we'll discuss that. What is dhanam, what is considered to be dhanam, we'll all discuss that later. But dhanam means giving what the other person wants, not giving what we don't want. What we want to get rid of, if we actually donate it, it is not called as dhanam. Anyway, it's another subject. So, suppose the Pratipaksha Bhavana, suppose I have got impatience. I do not have the patience to many a time. It has to be countered by titiksha. I have to develop titiksha. We have discussed titiksha, how to get titiksha. That's another, so you can refer to that. Or if I have this feeling of taking revenge on someone, I have this feeling of revenge, then it has to be countered by kshama, patience, forgiveness. I have to develop this art of forgiving things. Some people are short-tempered, they get angry, then kshanti, patience. We have to follow that. So we'll have to take one by one what are the negative qualities we have, develop a Pratipaksha Bhavana to overcome that. And do take only one by one. If we start taking everything together, we will not be able to achieve even one. So the idea is to actually list out. Again, this is all self-reflection. It's not about checking on the other person whether these person have these qualities or not. It is about reflecting what we have, listing it out, need not share it with others. We just need to work on ourselves. And we need to practice. See, changing our nature is not an easy job. We love to change others, or we would love others to change. But what is the important thing is that we fail to recognize is even to change our nature is not easy. Forget about changing others. Because it's like earning money or getting a job. Those things are quite easy when compared to earning some good habits, good values, earning that character, building a character. That is very difficult. It is extremely difficult. So it's not an easy job. We have to practice it. And so whenever we don't have the strength to fight something, what is the default we should do? As I have always said, bhakti. We will have to seek the help of Ishvara. Surrender to Him. To change our nature, bhakti is an important sadhana. So whenever we falter, whenever we feel weak, whenever we need support, bhakti is the way. Bhakti is an important sadhana. So this Pratipaksha Bhavana is one. Then to build good character, of course, the important thing is to be in satsanga. To build good character, satsanga is very important. Because every situation in the environment that we live in, we are actually exposed to, it does take part in shaping our character. We may not feel it immediately, but it does happen at the subconscious level. And until that time that we can be ourselves in all situations. Because normally what happens in all these groups, whenever we are in, it is easy for us to get influenced. Although we might disagree on that. We might say, I am not influenced. I maintain myself. The fact is, the self has changed and we have now owned up to the new self. That is what will happen. So, until the time that we can be ourselves in all situations, we will have to choose our situations that we need to be in. We should avoid dursanga. Dursanga in the spiritual context is anything that is materialistic in nature. Wherever the discussion is about artha kama and not dharma or moksha is a dursanga from a spiritual context. So we should avoid dursanga and look for satsanga. Being with sadhus, being with spiritual persons, being with acharyas, reading their books, listening to the lectures, all these are called satsanga. So satsanga does not necessarily mean that I have to be in a group practicing bhajan, doing bhajan or offering prayers or something like that. Even being in the midst of sadhus or reading some good books or listening to all these lectures is satsanga. So this is the samanya meaning of Sattva Samshuddhihi. The Visheshartha is basically, it says, Visheshartha is basically Sattva Samshuddhihi means no deception. Paravanchana abhavaha. That is what it says. Paravanchana abhavaha. In where vyavahareshu. In the transactional world, there is no deception that we show. There is no dishonesty when dealing with others. Is called as Sattva Samshuddhihi. Or we can say not being deceitful. Or we can say there is no betrayal. We don't betray people. We don't do any betrayal. In Tamil we say Nambikkai Drogam. Or this is basically, there are people who would show one face before the transaction and after acting differently after the transaction. That the deceptive action, the dishonesty that they show, the betrayal that they do. For example, some people behave very nicely before taking a loan or before getting a favor from you, and after that they will change. Initially they might try to act very nicely to impress you, and after they get their job done, they show their true color. Or there could be people who act nicely and you would have actually shared your secrets with them in confidence, but after some time they use that to take advantage from you. So those are all deceptive actions. So to overcome that, no deception is called Sattva Samshuddhihi. This is the Vishesha Artha of Sattva Samshuddhihi. So this is the second value or the second character that Bhagavan discusses. The third one is Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi. Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi, we have also seen that in the 13th chapter itself. It is the value 20, that the last value we saw in chapter 13 is the same, where we saw as Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, and these are the one and the same. Anyway, we will discuss more about this. We will anyway do some vichara on this value again in the next class. Any questions or comments, you may want to type it because I am not able to hear anyone here. If there are no questions, then we will see in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahishaha. Go Brahmanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Hari Om Shri Guru Hari Om.